Folks, it's another political profile, and I've got Thomas West here with us today. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Well, hello.
Thomas, you are the state representative for the
49th House District.
What is that? Where does that encompass?
49th House District encompasses Canton, Massillon, except for Ward 6.
Okay.
It also encompasses East Canton and Canton South, a little bit of Navarre and a sliver of Perry.
Okay, so pretty much our viewing area.
Central Stark County, yes.
Okay, and what have you been involved with in the past since you've been serving and been in office in Columbus? There's been probably some key things and issues that you've been involved with. Can you talk a little bit about some of those?
I can. I think first I'd like to talk a little bit about how it is that, I came to be in office and why I chose to run for this seat as a state legislator. I ran because of my educational background. I've been a social worker all my life.
Yeah.
Okay? I've worked in, of course, education, and then, as I said before, I have experience. The experience in all the social service agencies, from working with people from child to seniors.
Okay.
Working with people with disabilities, working with people with alcohol and drug, working with mental health. I was in mental health for over 25 years.
So this puts you on
Yeah.
the front porch with all the needs in the community.
Well, and it's consistent with what we deliver at the state, because there's a lot of state departments there that administers dollars here locally, that provide and address all of our social ills in our community. And what I've told you before is we have a lot of lawyers, we have a lot of businessmen, and we have a lot of insurance agents at the State House. I'm the only social worker. Who represents the people?
You're in touch with the needs.
Social workers,
Yeah.
right? People that work every day with people. And I've always been an advocate. So that's why I'm going to the State House to continue to work on behalf of the citizens of the 49th House District. You asked a question about what are the types of things that we're working on.
Some of the accomplishments, yeah.
Well, right now, one of the largest ones I think I talked about was our House Bill 479. That is a bill that right now holds PBMs accountable. PBMs are your pharmacy benefit managers groups. Those are the groups, there's the 3 top companies in Ohio. And these organizations are shutting down our independent pharmacies. Pharmacies like Davy's Drugs, the Medicine Shop. If you have an independent pharmacy, PBMs were trying to put them out of business. My bill, 479, allows them to be able to communicate to the people so that they're not ripping them off. So like I told you before, as you take your prescription drug card to the pharmacy, you give them that prescription drug card, and they say you have a copay of, say, $20.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is the pharmacist was not allowed to tell you that if you didn't use your prescription drug card, it would only cost you $5. $15 getting shaved off goes back to the PBM companies.
That's not fair.
It's not fair.
No.
And we found that $223 million was taken from Medicaid through this practice.
Wow.
So my bill provides transparency and elimination of clawbacks and holds them accountable for the dollars that they spent. This is an onion. We're not done seeing this. Matter of fact, just the other day, we seen that there was another $20 million that was taken duplicatively, meaning they asked for it twice and got it. Off the taxpayers' dollars. Those are the things that, as a legislator, you need to keep your eyes on the ball, and we've been doing that.
So this is one of your big issues. Can you talk to me about some of the other
One
big
of the
things
big
that
issues.
you've been working on?
Yeah, and the other issue is returning local government funds. And we're working with House Bill 499, Jack Serra and John Rogers, who's brought a bill to try to bring dollars back to our local communities. Local government funds have been stripped from us for years now. And the state is sitting on $2.5 billion. Let me say that again, $2.5 billion of our taxpayer money. And they call it a rainy day fund or a stabilization fund. But right now in our communities, it's raining and it's not stable. And which means that we need those infrastructure dollars to come in and fix our roads, to make certain that we have adequate safety forces, to make certain that we have the 5G broadband networks, right? Because as we're moving forward, we're looking at things like telehealth. This is where you can see.
Yeah, everything's interactive.
Yeah, you can do your surgeries online.
Right.
And you're talking about autonomous vehicles. This is something that's going on right now where cars can drive by themselves. You need technology. Your infrastructure needs to be improved. Our district needs to get up to speed and be ready for those technologies. We also need to address workforce development.
Okay.
That's a big issue for me, workforce development, making certain that not only our population in 49th District is ready for the coming jobs, but also to fill the jobs that are out there right now. I was at Young Trucking last week, and they're looking for good mechanics. They said they're starting out at $50,000.
Wow.
$50,000. This is out of high school. So if you got somebody out there that is going to school for mechanics, they could start $50,000 in the trucking industry right now.
And that being said, we had, over WHBC, we had Paul Salvino, our superintendent.
Yes.
With Massillon City Schools, and they were
Yes.
talking about
Nice guy.
with Jamie Palma. And one of the things under CTE was automotive and mechanics and things of that nature, because although they have a great collaboration with colleges, there's a certain demographic of student that they don't want to go to college, they want to do something skill. And
Right.
there's the opportunity to go from Massillon City Schools into something that you just mentioned. The needs are out there.
Well, they're 3D printing.
Right.
Again, we're talking, cybersecurity is another thing.
Yeah.
There's so many different needs today. We need to be able to continue to create pathways to success, kind of like you and I did when we were younger. We had metal shop, wood shop, all those
Yeah.
things. We need to start utilizing those paths again.
Now, when it comes to other things and other concerns, on the downside of that, a lot of people are looking for good help, but sometimes the help isn't there because they can't pass a drug test. Because we're faced with some of the we're ground zero when it comes to opiate addiction and other substance abuse addiction.
Well, and you know what, when it comes down to opiate addiction, when it comes down to marijuana and all these other types of drugs that are out there, we need to make certain that we do have treatment. And as you probably know, issue 1's on the ballot, and that's one of those issues that addresses the area. Should they be in treatment or should they be in prison? The question we're going to have to ask ourselves is, which one do we have to pay for? One of the things that most people don't know, the state budget mainly is made up of medication, incarceration, and education, right? That's a large part of our budget.
Wow.
And what has happened so far is you've had the state looking at farming all that out to for-profit businesses, and every arena has been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're
there's been
diversified
abuses,
into
ECOT,
Yeah.
PBMs, and mass incarceration's been housing people with mental illness and drug addiction versus putting these people in treatment. My belief is we need to start bolstering up our treatment options.
The education process.
There you go.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I should have you do this interview.
Well, that's it. I mean, yeah, the education process is probably going to be the only way to evolve and become successful in life so you can get through the problems that you have.
And I believe that there's a connection of all of them. I think you have education, I think you have training, workforce development. So as people are leaving prison, as people are leaving treatment, you have something to replace that addiction.
Yeah.
So if I am strung out on a drug because I had a pain or an ailment, now what is going to take place of that addiction? What's going to stimulate me more than that pill? And I think that's where workforce development or training or being able to be in counseling and having those treatment options. One of the major things that I don't know if you know, but behavioral health redesign is another initiative that came down by the Kasich administration. This is a big issue that I've had major problems with. If you notice in our county, we used to be mental health rich. But right now, we've lost the crisis center. You know, we're losing services, even at ComQuest. We're losing services there as well. And a lot of the treatment providers are getting a third of what they would have gotten last year, which means that brings less money in our coffers in our community for treatment and for services during a time when we need it the most. So I always tell people this: if we're looking for someone at the state level to make modifications and changes to this opiate epidemic, are we leaving it up to businessmen, lawyers, and insurance agents?
Well, and I know you mentioned ComQuest. I know that ComQuest, for a fact, they're wall to wall.
They are.
And their services are just, they're from one end of the county to the other with focuses here in Massillon and Western Stark County. And they have so many services. post-addiction services as well, the ones that work with getting someone into the workforce.
Right.
So we salute them for those services that they provide, but nonetheless, they're busy.
And let me tell you
because there's so
another
much
thing.
that's going on.
They've been spending so much time at the state. They've come into my office, and I have to tell you, they have come to my office probably a dozen times now to talk about all the issues that are going on. And, we've been able to get them some money in the
Right.
capital fund to help them, to help the Massillon site.
Right.
But all the issues that are going on right now in the political world around behavioral health redesign is affecting them here locally. They shouldn't have to spend that much time at the State House. They should be able to be here
Working
serving
where
the
the
people.
needs are, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And what you're seeing is a shift where they used to have a lot of direct services to clients and families. Now they're doing more administrative functions, which is not fair.
Let me ask you about this, and I know this has been a big issue. You and Kirk Schuring, as a nonpartisan team,
Yes,
worked on this when it came to Affinity Medical Center, when they abruptly pulled the plug and they
Right.
left our community high and dry without a hospital. I know
They did.
Mayor Kathy's been working hard with her team. You've been working hard. Kirk has been working hard to do whatever we can do to bring good health care back to our community, a community that deserves it. Any comments on that, or?
well, one thing I would tell you is that we need to make certain that we keep medical services right here in Stark County. Right here in
Massillon,
Western Stark County.
Yeah, in Massillon, yeah.
And this goes beyond Massillon.
Oh, yeah.
This goes
Brewster,
on
Worcester,
Brewster, yes.
or Canal Fulton, Navarre.
Yes.
Because when you, all the way to Orville,
Right.
is that this whole area is not represented. And then when you go and you talk to the healthcare providers at Altman and Mercy, and God bless them, and the work that they're doing, they are so inundated with
They are.
with the community needs. An average wait is probably 6 to 8 hours if it's non-life threatening.
Right.
And they don't want that.
Well, and I think it comes down to, what do we need here in Western Stark County? What do we need here in Massillon?
Right.
You have to have medical services. You
Yes.
have to have a hospital. You have to have a go-to place. When you're experiencing a heart attack, you don't want to go, minutes or
8 minutes
hours
out of the
away.
way, yeah.
You want to get this access as quick as you can. And one of the things that I again, through this whole process of working with Kirk and working with Kathy and working with all the leaders in this community,
Sure.
about how do we get a hospital and how do we maintain a hospital here in Western Stark County. I'm here to support the people. Anything that you guys need, just like you needed that piece of legislation that Kirk and I worked together on, that was to stop the hospitals in its tracks.
Yeah.
And I believe it did, okay? But now going forward, that wasn't the only hospital that's happening. Dayton is now experiencing it.
Oh, yeah.
Warren is now experiencing it.
Thus the
Others-
legislation.
Thus the legislation, and that's why it was needed.
Yeah.
Coming together in a crisis
You're
situation.
protecting
and making it
communities.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing. Now, as you look forward, you're running to retain your seat,
I am.
and some of the things that are on your wish list, provided you continue, and I think, we're all behind you.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've got a plan and a map of
You
some of
know-
the things you'd like to accomplish.
We have a roadmap going forward, and, and always it's going to continue to serve the people first. As a Democrat, a lot of times we have a hard time with giving out our message, telling people what we've done. And the reality is, we have always put people first. I know I have.
Well, that's the Democratic,
That's
kind of the
our
oath,
platform. Yeah.
yeah, platform, yeah.
But we don't always sell it as such, and people always expose it as we're the ones at fault. The reality is, going back to the State House, I know one thing, I will be in a minority, I was in a minority and been able to get things done. I've been able to work across the aisle. I've served on some of the best committees, for our people and for our community.
It's about the issue, not about the party.
There you go.
Yeah.
It comes down to serving the people, and that's all I know. That's all I've been, is an advocate. So if I've always worked with people, then it's who I am, and that's what I'll continue to do going forward. So my goals is basically working with infrastructure, workforce development, making certain that we have health, and I will still hold PBMs accountable. We have 2 bills that we're going to be moving forward. I can't speak to right now.
Okay.
But going back in January, we will make a difference, and you will hear about all the work that's going down to lower people's prescription drug costs as we know it.
What about Medicare and Medicaid and Medicaid expansion? That's a big
Medicaid-
concern for Ohioans.
It's a big concern of all the hospitals in this area.
Sure.
All the doctors and all the healthcare professionals. Medicaid expansion has to continue. And we need to make certain that we have a voice around that. Yeah, you may have issues with the mandate, you may have issues, and that's no longer in effect, the mandate. But Medicaid expansion is important for our region, and I will continue to support Medicaid expansion.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
valuable thing because so many people
Yeah.
are going to be in big trouble if that's compromised.
So true, so true. And, I think it's going to come down to also who's in the office, the big office, the governor's seat.
Yeah.
And the question is, right now, do we want to have all hands on deck and people that know what they're doing at the State House or someone learning what they're doing? I'm experienced, and I know how to navigate the bureaucracy that exists within the system. I've served on city council. I know the needs of city council, city government.
Yeah.
I've worked with the county commissioners. I've worked with the governor's office, so I already know the landscape and how to do it. I just need your support to continue to do the work in the State House that Weaver comes to. You can count on me to get my work done.
So, and that being said, if they want to reach out to you,
Yes.
how do they do that? Because I think you have Facebook, so you can interact direct. Plus, you probably have a Facebook or a regular website too.
I do. I have a Facebook account, which is, you just look up Thomas West or State Representative
Which
Thomas
district
West.
again?
49th, the 49th House District. My Facebook comes up right away. If you're looking to call my office, call it 614-466-8030. That's if you have any issues, any complaints, or you just need some direction. Our office will be there to help you. The other thing that you can listen to, we've put out newsletters if you're interested in getting a newsletter, call our office. We will make sure you get on the list so that you get a newsletter. In addition, we put our newsletters on our Facebook page. And I didn't know if people knew this, but I also have a radio show on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah, it's at WINW, right?
WINW, 1520 AM. I've been doing that for now about 4 months now.
Okay.
And just been educating people on what's going on at the state, what's going on here locally.
Well, you've been with us
how to
over
address this.
WHBC too, so.
Yes, I love WHBC.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoy all our media here we work together to try to get the message out to the people.
Right.
So I appreciate you for inviting me.
Yeah, this is MassillonLIVE, so,
MassillonLIVE.
we're, our online audience and our social media audience.
Okay.
Will get a firsthand view of Thomas West, and again, to go to your social media pages.
Yes.
As well as your website, to get all the information, and if they have, again, give me the phone number one more time.
Phone number is 614-466-8030. If you're interested in joining our campaign, give us a call. If you're interested in having any literature, give us a call. We'd be glad to serve you.
All right, Thomas.
Thank you,
Thank you very
partner.
much, my friend.
Good to see you.